We like to believe we are the authors of our own financial destiny. We log into our investment portals, look at our diversified portfolios, and take comfort in the golden rule of modern wealth building. Set it, forget it, and let the passive index funds do the heavy lifting. It feels safe, structured, and entirely under our control. But behind the clean interfaces of our retirement accounts, the architectural blueprints of the financial system are being quietly redrawn. Right now, preparations are underway for the largest initial public offering in human history. At a staggering $1.75 trillion target valuation, SpaceX is being positioned to enter the public market, with a market cap larger than every major American defense contractor combined. It is priced higher than the aggregate value of iconic global empires like Coca-Cola, McDonald's, Disney, Nike, and Starbucks all put together. You might look at this monumental figure, notice that the consolidated entity is burning billions of dollars annually, and ask a perfectly logical question. Who on earth is buying into this valuation? The answer is closer than you think. Within a matter of weeks, your own retirement fund, your index portfolios, and your long-term savings accounts are going to become some of the biggest buyers of this stock, completely automated, entirely outsourced, and without anyone ever asking for your vote. To understand how this algorithmic trap was set, you have to look past the headlines and decode the three entirely different engines running inside the machine. The public narrative surrounding SpaceX is masterful. If you ask the average person what the company builds, they will tell you about Martian colonization and heavy-lift rockets. But from a strategic engineering perspective, the rocket business is merely the outer shell. The corporate structure is actually three distinct businesses stacked on top of each other, where the most famous division is far from the most important one. First, there is the rocket business itself, the glamorous facade that captures the world's imagination by launching government payloads and NASA crews into orbit. Last year, it generated roughly $4 billion in revenue, which represents only about a quarter of the company's total top-line performance and cannot mathematically justify a $1 trillion valuation. The real economic engine is Starlink, a massive satellite internet constellation scaling faster than almost any telecom infrastructure in history. Expanding to over 10 million active subscribers across 150 countries, Starlink pulled in $11.4 billion in revenue, commanding an astonishing margin expansion from 41% to 63% in just 2 years. It prints cash, scales globally, and serves everyone from commercial airlines to classified defense networks. But then comes the black hole, XAI. Following a massive all-stock merger, SpaceX absorbed this artificial intelligence venture at a staggering $250 billion valuation. Yet beneath the hype lies a severe operational crisis. The division has been burning cash at an unsustainable rate, its entire core founding team of elite researchers completely departed, and leadership publicly acknowledged that the asset requires a foundational, ground-up rebuild. When you combine a highly efficient satellite utility, a steady rocket business, and a speculative AI lab bleeding capital, the consolidated balance sheet shifted to a net loss of nearly $5 billion last year on $18.5 billion in revenue. So how does an unprofitable conglomerate seamlessly glide into a historic $1 trillion public listing? You don't change the company. You change the rules of the platform.
When the rules of the market
Just
are
like
rewritten,
a tech
the entire
platform
system must
changing
adapt.
its core algorithm overnight, The gatekeepers of the financial markets quietly updated their manual. The NASDAQ 100 is the ultimate benchmark for growth equities, commanding hundreds of billions of dollars in passive investment products. Traditionally, getting listed on this index required passing strict regulatory filters designed to allow the market time for organic price discovery. However, a series of systemic adjustments completely cleared the runway. They introduced the fast entry override, compressing the legacy 3-month waiting period down to just 15 trading days, forcing passive funds to buy in almost immediately. Next, they eliminated the traditional float floor, which previously required a company to make at least 10% of its shares available for public trading. With SpaceX targeting a tight public float of just 4% to 5%, this change bypassed what would have been an automatic disqualification. Finally, they implemented an intricate weighting multiplier. For listings with a public float under 20%, the system treats the available float as 3 times larger than it actually is. Consequently, a lean 4% public float is calculated as if it were 12%, creating an immediate wave of manufactured, mandatory demand from institutional tracking funds. The framework wasn't shifted for a single entity. It was optimized for a whole new class of mega listings, leaving only one question: who provides the ultimate liquidity? When the blueprints of an IPO reveal that 30% of the public allocation is specifically earmarked for retail buyers, corporate communication frames it as a reward for long-term brand loyalty. But experienced market strategists recognize the structural reality. It creates immediate, massive retail absorption at peak valuation. As the mechanisms of passive investing automatically rebalance, billions of dollars of everyday capital will flow into this stock to satisfy the new index weightings. The insiders hold a low-cost baseline. The passive tracking indexes absorb the float at the top. Your portfolio becomes the automated destination for the distribution. This is the ultimate realization of the modern financial loop. The very feature that makes passive investing incredibly convenient, its absolute automation, is the exact vulnerability that allows massive manufactured listings to pass through the gates without your explicit consent or review. True financial autonomy is not about blindly trusting the pre-programmed indices of the legacy system, nor is it about letting a standardized algorithm dictate where your capital sleeps. True freedom begins the moment you look beneath the interface, decipher the hidden code of the market, and decide to become the active architect of your own wealth. The structural gates are shifting, the playbooks are open, and the power to step out of the automated loop rests entirely in your hands.